Colonel scoffed at a woman's firing range request. Her first bullet proved him dead wrong. Have you ever seen a crowd go silent in an instant? Imagine a dusty desert range, the wind whipping hot air across 20 firing lanes. A decorated officer smirks, convinced a lone civilian woman can't touch the outer rings, until a single bullet screams past his ear and obliterates the target's dead center at 1,000 yards. You feel his smug confidence shatter like glass. Now brace yourself, because what happens next will upend everything you thought you knew about skill prejudice and the true meaning of power. If you've ever been underestimated, you know the fire it ignites. Smash that subscribe button now, and join us as we expose the hidden truths behind prejudice and power. Like if you believe skill knows no gender, and drop a comment sharing your own underdog story, because today we're rewriting the rules together. The Nevada sun hangs low and merciless over Naval Air Station Fallon, turning the concrete lanes into blistering ribbons of heat. Brass casings litter the ground like fallen autumn leaves, glinting gold and copper in the late afternoon glare. The electronic targets stand 1,000 yards away, half lost in wavering mirages. Every inhale carries the sharp tang of gun oil and cordite, a perfume that to some smells of power and to others of ruin. Colonel Marcus Brennan strides along the firing line with the precision of a man born into authority. His uniform is immaculate, every ribbon aligned, every crease iron sharp. Behind him, a dozen young recruits mirror his posture, their eyes bright with admiration and nerves. Brennan's voice cuts through the hum of the range. Ladies and gentlemen, marksmanship isn't for the faint of heart. It demands killer instinct, and yes, I mean real killer instinct. Women. They belong behind desks, not behind scopes. Laughter ripples through the group, rattling like spent cartridges. A cluster of defense contractors in press suits lean casually against the barrier phones at the ready. They've paid for this show, paid to see raw talent or spectacular failure. But today, something unfamiliar slinks through the open gate. A woman steps forward, simple jacket, tied back hair, a faded Viper 1 tattoo curled on her wrist. To Brennan's practiced eye, she's a civilian tourist, out of place, out of her depth. He smirks, ready to educate her, to send her scurrying back to the civilian range. He doesn't see her shoulders squared with resolve, doesn't hear the soft whisper of her breath steadying, doesn't feel the quiet confidence thrumming in her veins. Her name is Sarah Mitchell. Though today she carries no rank, no medals, only the old worn rifle case at her side. She paid her fee without hesitation, her eyes sweeping the lanes and the targets as if already memorizing every yard. The recruits watch her, some with pity, some with curiosity. The contractors lean in, smelling gossip. Brennan steps forward, voice dripping false courtesy. Ma'am, this is a military range. You'll need proper clearance, safety briefing. Perhaps a 25-yard lane to start with. He flashes them a grin, expecting nods, smirks the usual assent to his authority. Sarah's gaze drifts past him to the far lane. Her voice is calm, measured. Lane 7, please. The furthest lane. The range goes quiet. Even the wind seems to pause as though sensing a storm gathering. A single recruit exhales brass casing rattling on concrete. Brennan's grin falters for a heartbeat, a tiny crack in his armor. Then he laughs, loud and sharp. That's for our qualified marksmen only. You don't look qualified. He gestures toward the beginner lanes where cardboard silhouettes loom at 20 yards like timid targets. The contractors chuckle. The recruits follow suit, their amusement echoing off distant hills. But Sarah doesn't flinch. Instead, her hand shifts inside the rifle case with practiced ease. The scuffed leather creaks as she lifts out a sleek modified M4A6 barrel, custom-fitted scope, glinting with military precision. Her fingers trace the contours of the stock, as if greeting an old friend. Torres Brennan's loyal sergeant senses the tension. His jaw tightens, but he doesn't intervene. Neither do the contractors. They lean forward, intrigued. The desert wind kicks up swirling sand across the lanes. Sarah settles into position, muscles moving with the ritual of thousands of repetitions. Her jacket flutters, but her posture is rock solid. Brennan opens his mouth to mock again, and then she fires. The rifle report cracks like thunder. Every head turns. The electronic score pings dead center X-ring. A perfect shot at 1,000 yards. Sarah's breathing remains slow rhythmic. Brennan's smile falters, spine stiffens. As the recruits stare in disbelief, and the contractors murmur behind their hands, Sarah doesn't celebrate. She simply loads the next round her eyes, never leaving that wavering silhouette 1,000 yards away. The atmosphere hums with the electricity of shattered assumptions. In this crucible of sand steel and prejudice, nothing will ever be the same. Brennan's laughter echoes across the lanes as Sarah's bolt clicks closed and the desert wind seems to stiffen in challenge. Perfect center. The electronic judge chirps again, and a ripple of disbelief spreads through the recruits. They exchange glances, the same doubt flickering in each eye. Brennan steps forward, voice low and tight. "Lucky shot," he mutters, but his words lack conviction. He turns to the group, raising his voice. "You heard her any amateur can string together one fluke? Who wants to bet she can do it twice?" A smattering of chuckles rises from the contractors, their polished shoes tapping on concrete. But Sarah's gaze never wavers from the distant target. She inhales slowly, a practiced ritual chest, expanding shoulders, dropping every muscle aligning with the rifle as if it were an extension of her own spine. The second report cracks like a whip. A hush falls. Dead center again. Another ping from the scoring system, and then a third, fourth, fifth. 5 bullets, 5 X-rings each, a hammer blow to Brennan's conceit. You can almost see the bruise forming on his ego. His jaw works grinding a syllable of protest, but no sound emerges. Instead, he points at the scope voice horse. That scope's military issue. That barrel's custom. Those modifications are illegal for civilians. A sergeant moves to inspect clipboard in hand, but Sarah's calm defies accusation. Her credentials are spotless civilian marksman license, no hidden records, nothing in the system. The recruits lean forward, phones raised, now recording every moment. The contractors inch closer, curiosity transforming into admiring awe. Even the wind has gone still, as though the desert itself watches. Brennan's smirk fractures. He switches tactics, barbed and personal. "You're just a trophy wife hobbyist, right? Someone's girlfriend playing dress-up with daddy's hardware." The words hang like toxic smoke. Some recruits shift uncomfortably, recognizing venom they never agreed to swallow. Torres's hand drifts toward his holster, but pauses conflicted loyalty, warring with disgust. Sarah's fingers tighten on the stock. Blood pulses at her temple. Memories flare. Kandahar gales, sandblasted nights, echoes of orders barking through her headset. Every insult cuts deeper because she's heard worse in silence beyond public view, where real bullets flew and real allies fell. But she lets Brennan's words wash over her, collecting each one as fuel. Without a word, she pulls another round. The distance stretches like a gauntlet 1,200 yards. Heat mirages dance between barrel and target. Wind kicks up, carrying grit that would daunt any ordinary shooter. Brennan's nostrils flare. He scoffs at the impossibility. "You'll be lucky to nick the berm." Sarah breathes out. Time slows. Her world narrows to the weight of that round. In her hand, the curvature of the earth, the invisible currents tugging at the bullet. She exhales, fingers caress the trigger. The rifle fires a thunderclap swallowed by the vastness of the desert. The recruits step back as if blasted by shock. The electronic beacon pings dead center. Perfect. Unbelievable. A collective intake of breath, 100 hearts pounding in unison. Contractors murmur, swapping incredulous glances. Even the sergeant's clipboard clatters to the ground. Brennan blinks, face-draining color. He opens his mouth, searching for authority, but only silence answers. Then Sarah speaks, voice low and unwavering. "This is my mother's rifle. She died here demonstrating recoil she was told she couldn't handle. I brought it back to honor her. Every shot today is for her." Her words land like stones, shattering the last shards of Brennan's composure. A murmur ripples through the crowd as Sarah steps from the firing line and walks toward her rifle case. Each step carries decades of sacrifice. Each breath echoes loss and resolve. The recruits, once mocking, now part in awe, part in raw empathy. Even the contractors stand silent, awed by a truth no power suit could deny. Sergeant Torres clears his throat, voice firm. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lieutenant Sarah Mitchell, Naval Special Warfare, Sniper Viper 1. 73 confirmed kills. 800 missions. Medal of Honor recipient. A stunned hush follows. The desert sun seems to dim under the weight of revelation. Brennan stumbles backward, defeated by the very proof he sought to discredit. His voice cracks as he tries to apologize. Sarah's eyes flick to him, steel-tempered by sorrow. Respect isn't earned by exposing hidden records, she says softly. It's given by recognizing worth before the facts are known. As the crowd exhales, the power dynamic has shifted irreversibly. Sarah's silent mastery has become the loudest indictment of prejudice. The recruits lower their phones, but the memory of this moment will outlast any recording. The contractors discreetly exchange business cards, not for defense contracts, but for training sessions with the woman who rewrote their understanding of strength. In the aftermath, the range stands quiet, but transformed a crucible where arrogance was melted down by undeniable skill. The conflict has rippled outward beyond this firing line into every mind that witnessed it. And somewhere deep in the desert wind, you can almost hear the echo of a legend reborn. ChatGPT Jean Noy. Sarah steps back from the firing line, eyes locked on the smoldering crater in the distant berm. In that instant, she knows that proving her skill won't be enough. She needs to dismantle the system that tried to bury her. Every fiber of her being hums with purpose. It's time for more than precision. It's time for justice. She retreats to her vehicle and opens the secured laptop, fingers flying over the keyboard. Months earlier, she'd anticipated the need for hard evidence recordings of Brennan's tirades, logs of discriminatory range assignments, even the classified memo where he lobbied to exclude women and minorities. She uploads the files to an encrypted live stream link, ready to broadcast the raw footage at the precise moment her final shot silences all doubt. Back on the range, Brennan paces, trying to salvage authority. He corrals the recruits, clearing his throat for another condescending lecture. But Sarah watches him through the scope of her plan, not her rifle. Her heartbeat slows into measured pulses. She's no longer reacting, she's orchestrating. Under the guise of a final demonstration, she approaches Torres. Sergeant, I need a moment on lane 7 alone. His eyes flicker with worry, but he steps aside, sensing the undercurrent of something bigger than a shooting test. The contractors lean in, expecting a flourish of marksmanship. Instead, Sarah raises her voice just enough for cameras to catch. What you're about to see isn't just marksmanship. It's the truth this range was built to hide. She hits go live. Instantly, screens pop up across the lot, on contractors' tablets, recruits' phones, even the range's own wall monitors. Viewers watch Brennan's earlier outbursts in jerky, unedited clips. Women belong behind desks. You're lucky to grope a 6-inch target. No civilian fires like that. Each phrase lands like a blow, exposing a catalog of prejudice. Brennan's eyes widen. He stomps toward her, but cameras keep rolling, panning across startled faces, some smirking, most horrified. Sarah doesn't flinch. She lifts her mother's rifle, the barrel etched with J. Mitchell, 1972-2005, and loads a single round. Silence spreads across the firing line, thicker than any briefing. This is my answer, she says softly, scanning the wind flags. The contractors lean forward. The recruits fall silent. Brennan opens his mouth to protest, too late. Sarah settles into position, breath steady, every muscle coiled like a spring. The shot cracks through the air, cutting the tension in two. The target flares, perfect center X-ring, 1,800 yards. A ripple of astonished cheers erupts, but Brennan's focus is torn between his collapsing empire and the screens looping his disgrace. Sarah steps up to the makeshift podium, an overturned ammo crate. She lets the final live clip play, Brennan's own voice, condemning her, her mother, any woman who dared claim space on his range. The footage cuts to a memo signed in his name, demanding no non-white, non-male shooters in premium lanes. The recruits gasp. The contractors go pale. She turns to Brennan, voice firm. This is who you are, Colonel. Not a mistake your own words and deeds. His shoulders slump. He stares at the screens stripped of rank and reverence. Sarah lifts her gaze to the recruits. You wanted proof of skill, she says, but real strength is integrity. True power admits its faults and makes amends. A hushed murmur of agreement ripples through the crowd. Before Brennan can muster an excuse, Rear Admiral Hayes storms in with a clip in hand, her own copy of the leaked memo. Her presence is a command she destines Brennan for immediate review. This is unacceptable conduct, she declares. Effective immediately range command is reassigned. The recruits erupt in silent applause. The contractors slump, business deals forgotten. As Hayes escorts Brennan away, Sarah closes the live stream. The files are now in official hands. The truth has pierced the veil. She steps down from the crate, every eye on her, not as a civilian or a woman, but as a leader who refused to be silenced. She pockets her mother's rifle with reverence. The wind picks up, carrying away the last echoes of prejudice. In the hush that follows, Sarah turns to the recruits. If you ever doubt what's possible, she says, remember this day when a single shot and a single voice changed everything. She walks off the line, leaving behind a transformed range and a lesson that will resonate long after the dust settles. The hot afternoon sun beats down as Sarah kneels behind the barricade rifle, cradled in perfect alignment. The contractors and recruits form a half circle around Lane 7, their eyes darting between her and Colonel Shaw's tight, furious posture. The air is thick with dust and anticipation. This isn't a simple demonstration. It's Sarah's reckoning. She breathes in, feeling the grit on her tongue, and exhales in a measured hiss that steadies her heartbeat. Every muscle in her body responds to the familiar cadence of ritual. Sling the stock into her shoulder. Press her cheek against the comb clamp, her support hand on the forend. Her finger drifts to the safety, then moves deliberately to the trigger. The world narrows to scope crosshairs and a distant silhouette dancing in mirage. Contractor tablets flicker with the live feed Sarah initiated. Moments ago footage of Shaw's own biased memos. His recorded jibes about women and minority shooters. The recruits' phones buzz as they huddle to watch. The screens become mirrors, reflecting Shaw's scandalous arrogance back at him. Sarah doesn't glance up. She tilts the rifle slightly, adjusting for crosswind. Flags in the distance snap at 15 knots, enough to push a bullet yards off course at this range. She calculates the windage, holds 2 clicks right. Gravity will drop this bullet nearly 6 feet before it even reaches the berm's face. She inhales, counting silently to 3, and squeezes. The shot cracks like a whip. A silence so deep follows that even the wind seems to pause. Seconds later, the electronic target pings dead center X-ring. A collective gasp rises. Shaw's jaw drops, his face flushes as color drains. The contractors murmur anxiously, this isn't the demonstration they paid for. Sarah doesn't celebrate. Instead, she cycles the bolt brass, flying in a golden arc, and loads another round. She looks directly at Shaw's eyes, unblinking steel. The weight of every insult he ever hurled hangs between them. She breathes out. The second shot lands perfect center again. The recruits erupt in stunned applause, but Sarah remains a statue of focus. Shaw storms forward, face contorted with rage. That's 2. Beginner's luck, his voice cracks. He steps into her line of fire, mindless of safety protocols, desperate to reclaim control. I make the rules here, civilian, he barks. Sarah's finger hovers on the trigger. Your rules, she replies softly, are on record. With a flick of her thumb, she mutes her helmet mic, cutting off his tirade from the live stream. Then she finishes the magazine. 5 shots, 5 dead centers. Each ping echoes Shaw's collapse in authority. Torres Salazar and Guyon, 3 sergeants of different backgrounds, exchange looks of awe. Even they didn't anticipate this level of mastery. A young recruit lowers his phone, whispering, I never thought I'd see someone own this range like that. Shaw tries to intervene, but Adams, the range safety officer, steps between them. Sir, you're out of order? His voice trembles, betraying the injustice he's long tolerated. Shaw's fists clench. He pushes Adams aside, but the contractors gasp, dropping their luxury pens. The recruits recoil in shock. Sarah stands rifle slung and strides toward Shaw's podium, an overturned ammo crate, where he once lorded over the crowd. She raises her voice so everyone hears, "You called me unqualified. You said women and minorities don't belong here. You taught these soldiers that prejudice is standard procedure." Her tone is calm, but edged with steel. Today, you've been unmasked. She gestures to the monitors, now looping his own words. No non-white shooters in lane 7. Women can't handle real firepower. Each phrase lands like a blow. Shaw's face contorts, unable to look away. The recruits watch in horrified fascination, their leader's hypocrisy laid bare. Sarah steps back and removes a flash drive from her pocket. I've uploaded every memo, every email, every recording of your demeaning lectures. This goes directly to the Inspector General. She holds the drive up, sunlight glinting off its metal casing. The contractors lean forward, realizing the public relations disaster unfolding. Flashlights from phones illuminate the podium like a smoky interrogation. Shaw shouts, "You can't do this." But his voice is drowned by the hum of cameras and the buzz of shocked exclamations. Behind him, a small group of recruits laid eyes on the footage, and their respect for Sarah hardens into resolve. They step forward, forming a protective arc around her. Suddenly, the distinctive silhouette of an official SUV rolls into the range entrance. Rear Admiral Hayes emerges, uniform, immaculate eyes, sharp like an eagle's. She strides in, nodding to mobilized MPs at her side. "Colonel Shaw," she says, voice steely. "You're relieved of range command, effective immediately." The quiet authority in her tone sends a shiver through the crowd. Shaw's face drains to ashen gray. He tries to speak, but no words come. The Admiral turns to Sarah. "Well done, Lieutenant Mitchell. You've proven far more than marksmanship today." Her words carry weight, they're a commendation and a relief. Sarah inclines her head, eyes reflecting gratitude and sorrow. The recruits cheer as one a wave of sound that swallows Shaw's defeat. The contractors exchange hurried handshakes, their contracts evaporating in the wake of Sarah's integrity. Phones snap photos. Whispers spread like wildfire. Admiral Hayes walks to Sarah's side. "I'll ensure the IG has what it needs," she says. "In the meantime, you'll lead the new precision shooting program. Your expertise and your character are indispensable." A cheer rises as Sarah's new role is announced. Shaw is escorted away, shoulders slumped, stripped of the authority he once wielded like a weapon. The range feels different now, sun-bleached barrels and concrete lanes transformed into sanctified ground where truth and justice prevailed. Sarah slings her rifle with reverence, her mother's initials still faint on the stock. She breathes in the desert air, tasting victory and vindication not for herself alone, but for every person who ever faced prejudice here. She turns to the recruits, her voice steady. "Let's begin." Real training starts now. They leap to attention, eager and determined. As she guides them to lane 1 for fundamentals, the wind finally stirs, carrying with it the echo of 100 shattered assumptions. In its wake, a new era dawns, one where skill, integrity, and inclusivity rule the firing line. And at its heart stands Sarah Mitchell, the woman who turned bullets into justice. Silence hangs heavy over the range as Colonel Shaw is led away, in handcuffs, his uniform's sharp lines, now a mockery of authority. The recruits stand motionless, eyes wide, processing the collapse of a man they once admired. Then, as if moved by a single breath, they erupt in applause, tentative at first, then thunderous. Their cheers echo off the concrete lanes, a salute not to rank, but to integrity. The defense contractors once poised in smug fumble with their phones, capturing the moment for damage control. Their hushed voices quake with urgency. "We need to review our sponsorship. Who do we call in PR?" They edge toward Sarah, eyes seeking answers, but she keeps her distance rifle slung with reverence rather than pride. Rear Admiral Hayes steps forward, the weight of her presence restoring order. She turns to the gathered soldiers. Today, you witness true leadership, she intones. Lieutenant Mitchell didn't just outshoot prejudice, she shattered it. A ripple of agreement sweeps through the ranks. Salutes snap into place, eyes shining with renewed purpose. Sergeant Torres approaches Sarah, helmet tucked under one arm, face alight with pride. He offers a crisp nod. No words pass between them, none are needed. Behind him, Staff Sergeant Salazar, eyes moist, whispers to a rookie, "Remember this feeling." The rookie nods, jaw clenched as if engraved by the moment. Across the lot, contractors press business cards into Admiral Hayes' hand, desperate for future collaboration with the woman whose expertise has now become legend. She tucks them away, offering a polite but firm shake of the head. "Not yet," she says. "First, we rebuild this program on respect and excellence." As the sun dips below the mountains, the targets stand deserted, but transformed, once static silhouettes, now symbols of a profound shift. The wind picks up, carrying spent casings and newly forged resolve. Sarah steps forward, boots crunching gravel, and surveys the line of eager faces. "Tomorrow at 0600 Lane 1, she announces. "We start with fundamentals. Breath control, trigger, discipline, respect for weapon, for range, for each other." A hush falls, then 12 voices echo in unison. "Yes, ma'am." In that unified chorus lies the promise of change, recruits who will no longer be molded by prejudice, but by excellence. Admiral Hayes watches satisfaction softening her gaze. The desert sky darkens, but beneath it, the range glows with possibility. Sarah lifts her mother's rifle fingertip, brushing the etched initials. She inhales the scent of gun oil and cordite one last time, then exhales, letting her breath carry the weight of every injustice laid to rest today. As she turns toward the exit, the firing line fades behind her, a crucible forever altered by one woman's unwavering stand for justice. Sarah Mitchell stood her ground in a place built to break her, and in doing so, she redefined strength, honor, and justice. Today, we saw how one woman's unwavering skill and integrity can shatter prejudice, expose corruption, and lift an entire unit to new heights of respect. If you felt that surge of empowerment, hit like and let us know in the comments. When have you faced doubt and turned it into your greatest victory? Subscribe now so you never miss a story where the underdog rises, and share this video with someone who needs a reminder that true power isn't demanded, it's proven. Have you ever witnessed a moment that changed everything? Tell us below. Coming up next, we'll dive into another jaw-dropping tale of resilience. How a janitor's lunch break invention upended a multi-million-dollar tech empire. You won't believe how one small idea sparked a major revolution. Click here to watch it now and stay tuned, because the next story could redefine everything you thought you knew.